Hello, you're watching Dukascopy TV. I'm Ben Jones. On the line with me to discuss the economy of Sweden and some potential reforms is Magnus Alvesson from Swedbank. First up, Magnus, and business confidence and consumer confidence have been released today. Both have gone down slightly. However, would you say they are both positive signs for Sweden?
I think they're a bit lower than expected and a bit lower than previously recorded. But still, when we look at the underlying numbers, they're still quite solid. I think there's no cause for very big alarms to go up based on these numbers.
Now, retail sales have also been released, and on an annual basis, the figure has gone down from 4.6% to 3.4%. What do you think has influenced this, and what does this figure mean for Sweden?
When we look at the numbers, what we saw was mainly consumables that rose at a lower rate than expected. Durables, on the other hand, went up quite a lot. And within those numbers, what we saw was that the furniture sale increased by over 10%. So, and how do you interpret this? It's always difficult to make interpretation on individual monthly numbers. But again, our view is that the Swedish economy is doing fairly well, and consumers are also doing fairly well. When we looked at closer look at the confidence number for consumers, what went down particularly was the outlook, the forward-looking numbers. That the consumers' view on their own economy, but also the consumers' view on the Swedish macro situation were quite lower. So, all in all, when you put these numbers together, there's no big cause for alarm, but we could perhaps temper our expectations a bit going forward.
And finally, the finance minister has recently lowered the growth forecast for Sweden and stated that new reforms need to be implemented. Why do you think this has been lowered, and could you briefly discuss the reforms?
Well, the main reason why the Minister of Finance has lowered their forecast is that the outcome for end 2014 was worse than expected. So I think that's a general trend that we see among many forecasters at this time, that we are lowering average growth rates for 2015 because of the base effects coming in were detrimental. On my own view, I think that we are looking forward to Swedish economic growth picking up from now on. So we actually see a bit better dynamics in this year and also into 2016. While the Ministry of Finance and the Minister of Finance, they have their own rationale for trying to keep expectations low, and one of these is to motivate new reforms. And I think that one reason why they're lowering forecasts and keeping them quite low is that they want to provide a rationale for increasing the number of reforms and the type of reforms. And what they're going to do, it's not so difficult to say, because they presented a budget for the whole year in December that was voted down in the Riksdag, the Parliament. But many of the ideas that they presented there will be what they want to implement this year and next year. However, since their budget was voted down, they won't be able to do all the reforms that they had proposed. And the most important of which is that they intended to raise taxes, but they can't do that mid-year. They have to wait next year. So, but what they can do is to reduce the subsidies that the previous government introduced for younger workers and older workers, and thereby creating some fiscal space that they can use on the one hand to increase spending in terms of infrastructure, on the other hand also to implement some job programs for young people, so that those young people that have most difficulties with getting into the labor market will get public assistance and subsidies doing so.
Magnus, once again, thank you for sharing your insight with us, and thank you for watching. Dukascopy TV has plenty more coming up for you, so stay tuned. Bye for now.